Hey race fans, and welcome to
Formula
Well, there you go, Stefano. You got your wish of shorter races because that was the shortest race in F1 history, so put that in your pipe and smoke it. And as for my predictions, well, they were wildly wrong, although I did say we just need to see what happens with Max in qualifying. And what does he do? Chucks it on pole. But no Leclerc win, so my Ferrari delusion will have to go on hold for another race. As for the race, apart from a chaotic start, it was a bore fest as I feared. I was hoping for some action, especially with Max on pole, but it was short-lived. There was a little McLaren incident to talk about later, but other than that, there was no fight up the front. A few things happened over the course of the weekend, so there are a couple of news items to cover off. Colton Herta decided he wants the Cadillac seat in the near future, and I think he will want to have a crack in 27 if either Bottas or Perez don't perform. Herta will move into F2 next year, and the rumours are it will be with Prema, but we are yet to hear a lineup. I think it'll be very interesting to see one of the big boys from IndyCar come over and compare to the F2 spec of cars with similar downforce levels but much less power and no ovals to race around. So let's see how he goes next year. Also, Gasly has decided he likes pain and has signed with Alpine till 28. But let's hope that Merc engine is a rocket, and with a decent chassis he can prove his talent and mix it up with the boys at the front. Here's a surprise for you. Monaco has extended until the end of 2035, which is actually no real surprise as it has been on the calendar only so all the rich billionaires can make offers and deals in the tax haven. Oh yeah, and the cars go around in circles there too, I guess. Speaking of that, they might be adding changes to the track because Leclerc and Nico Rosberg have talked how they have had to move apartments, and there was also talk of George having to do the same. So the Principality of Monaco might be selling up some complexes near the tunnel area of the track to expand and make changes to the layout. So we will have to wait and see, but I'm all for doing something to Monaco so it's not a 78 lap flat out driver's parade. And no, not mandatory 2 stops, for the love of God, please no. We also have Danny Rick, who has announced that he was officially retiring from racing with his signing as a Ford brand ambassador, which I think is a good deal, and Ford will be getting their money's worth out of content from that partnership. But enough of that, and on to track action, with Ferrari starting off Friday with a 1-2 and Hamilton putting a big middle finger up to the FIA for giving him a 5th-place grid penalty by going quickest in FP1, followed by Charles. Also, I know Hadjar was tanking it like I told him to, but to qualify near last and then to have to start from the pit lane, that's a good way to go towards not getting that demotion. Then we had Russell asking for mediums in Q3 because he went fastest in Q2 on them, but I think the team wanted to save the fresh set of mediums for the race, but failed to tell him, so we had another classic George radio moment of him asking why softs were fitted for the last run. Even though the mediums would take around 4 laps to warm up properly. Sorry, but that's just George being George again, and probably just wanting to hear his voice on TV, I guess. Something that would have changed up the championship quite dramatically was Norris nearly going out in Q2 and having to get a tow from, oh, who's that? Oh yeah, it's only Oscar, his immediate championship threat. I can't believe McLaren couldn't just let this play out, and if Norris doesn't get through to Q3, it's on Lando for not getting a lap together. This already set a pretty glaring example of how the Papaya team wants to play things, but that would have led to a much bigger Papaya rules decision later on. One of the highlights of quali was the great Gabby putting it a blinder of a lap and having his teammate the Hulk coming up with one of the quotes of the season, saying that Bortoleto is like a printer that doesn't run out of ink and keeps on delivering laps. That now means that Gabby is beating Hulk 10-6 in quali, which for a rookie is highly impressive given that Nico is known as being a qualifying specialist. On to the race, and we had Hulk out before it even starts with a hydraulic issue, which Sauber knew about right before the cars took off from the grid, but would have hoped it sorted itself out. It did not, unfortunately, and he had to retire. Off the line was Norris making a slightly better start, but Max coming over to close him off and in the process pushing him onto the grass. Lando holds on though and stuffs it up the inside, forcing Max wide, but then Max showing what could have happened in Monza 21 when you take to the escape road, and funnily was able to then come back on the track and fight with Lando a lap later and went on to take the win. We had Hamilton providing a bit of entertainment in the early stages and coming up onto Russell fairly quickly, but cooking his tyres a bit in doing so and got told to lift and coast on lap 6 already. But it is what it is with Ferrari this year, as Leclerc got told the famous Lyco from lap 4 after his early battle with Oscar also cooked his tyres. Nothing really happened up the front until we had the McLaren disaster. I don't know where to start with this, but I will just say that wasn't it Piastri asking for fair treatment in Silverstone after an unfair penalty in his eyes? Now we get McLaren telling Oscar to give up position to Lando for an unfair pit stop. You also have Hungary, where a split strategy decision with Lando winning after bottling it off the line and Oscar being in the running to win in second, but somehow Lando from fourth was able to jump Piastri on a fair strategy and win the race, but that was all okay, wasn't it, McLaren? Pit stops are part of the game, but I do feel sorry for the left front wheel gun guy, because if it had played out differently, he would get roasted by Lando fans for sabotage yet again. And that's not fair, because in 1.9 seconds, it's pretty easy to make a mistake. No, I'm not going down that road. So Gabby getting points like literally every race lately is unreal. After lap 5 and the race settled down a bit, Gabby thought it would be fun to copy his boss Alonso in Hungary and for everyone from 7th back to jump aboard the Bordeleno DRS train. He has learnt from the master well, and to the point that Fernando forgot his ticket and decided to disembark in an extreme way, breaking his front suspension. Also, can we talk about Albon in the points in P7 after his teammate Sainz letting him through early in the race because they were on different strategies? He had great pace that was similar to the front running cars and has said it was his best Sunday car balance he has had all year. He is now 7th in the Drivers' Championship, above Kimi Antonelli. Let me repeat, he is above the Mercedes second car. We have Hadjar going from the pit lane to points and is actually getting back into the dangerous territory of some Marco praise. So just ease up for the next few races, Isaac. Also, what is it about starting from pit lane and getting points being a trend now? I think the midfield team should just start from the pit lane as a tactic. From Red Bull's second team to their second seat, and Tsunoda nearly getting lapped is just sad now. I know he had a massive wing on and he didn't have the new floor. He also had a little tangle with Liam, which didn't help matters, but if his performances keep dipping while his teammate is winning, then I can't see a reason for him to stay in the paddock. Apparently the Honda money is running out in Mexico, which is why Helmut is giving him until then to prove he deserves a 26 drive. But please, Yuki, put in a banger performance so you can stay at least one more year. On to Alpine, and this track was never going to be kind to them because it's all about acceleration and top speed, which is not the French engine's strong point. Which means it's not great reading for Franco a year on from his debut with Williams at this track, as it did not treat him well, but at least he wasn't last spot. That seems to always be said for Sir Lancelot Strolovich. For Franco not to be far off of Gasly, and even ahead until later in the race when he was told to let Gasly through, is still the best he can hope for from this race, and I fear Baku will be the same with its massive straights and 90-degree corners. Pierre really struggled and was pulling as much as he could out of the package, but I think it's just time to get what they can this year and look forward to the Merc engine in 26. We have to touch on the Carlos and Behrman incident, and does Ollie deserve a penalty? Is it a racing incident, or actually was it on science to give Behrman some kind of room at least? I mean, by the letter of the law, according to the driving standards rules, it was Carlos's corner, but it doesn't mean the other car just has to disappear. So it's a bit of a tricky one, But what do you guys reckon? Let me know in the comments what you would do for that one if you're in the stewards room. So that was the race, and we have a Max win after 9 races without one, a McLaren collapse of sorts, and a disappointed Tifosi going home with no silverware for the first time since 21. So with that, I'll move on to Star of the Day and Clown of the Day. For my Star of the Day, you can't go past Max, although Albon in 7th is a fair shout, if that's who you had. Max had a new floor and basically no rear wing, which definitely helped him to get pole, and then surprisingly had the pace to win with a fairly dominant display. And at times throughout the race, I had to remind myself that this wasn't 23 all over again. It leads me to think, did they fire Horn Dog too late? Because this new floor and Lawrence's technical approach has already delivered a win, and Max may go on to win a few more races this year. If he didn't fall back so much over the first part of the season, or if this new floor was on at the start of the season, could he be challenging for his 5th straight championship? I don't know. Clown of the Day is going to a team, and of course it's McLaren. This has gone down as a shambles of a championship because they don't want to upset either driver, and it's now a dangerous precedent to set with the Papaya rules now extending to botched pit stops. Here's something for shits and gigs. Let's say Oscar is leading in Abu Dhabi, and they pull him in for a stop, and we have what happens to Lando today, meaning that Norris comes out from his pit stop in the lead. Are McLaren going to come over the radio and say, "Oh, hey, Lando, can you just move aside so Oscar can win the championship, please?" I think Norris will have radio reception issues all of a sudden, like, sorry guys, you're breaking up. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, so let me know your thoughts on this new variation of Papaya rules, and how you think it will play out over the course of the rest of the season. That just about wraps up the Monza GP, so enjoy a week off, and thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.